Hey, so remember that series that I started like, I don't know, 11 months ago? Remember that series that I was originally just gonna drop, completely forget about it, like put it behind me, continue about my life for the rest of my life, forgetting about this series? Well, way too many people requested for this series to come back. So, 11 months later, here's the second part. Like, what intro can I even make? I know literally quite a few of you have been waiting for this for like 11 months, so I can't even make a justifiable intro. So, here we go. Hello my lovely viewers. Looking for some affordable and good quality anime merch? Want to support your favorite haiku team or join UA? What about joining the Straw Hat Pirates for an adventure or two? Want to join the Black Wolves or the Fairy Tale Guild? Well, this site has that and so much more. Use my discount code and receive 10% off your entire order. Link and code is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Hinata shifted uncomfortably in his restraints, done rather tightly by Atsumu, who was in on the prank. Long after their practice match with MSBY, Hinata decided to finally go through with the prank after putting it off for far longer than he should have. His own paranoia kept him from fulfilling his part of the prank. If it wasn't for Atsumu, he would have just kept on putting it off until the end of time. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Have you no faith? Well, this is too tight for just a prank. Do you want this to be believable or not? Well, yes, but I appreciate keeping my skin on my wrist, thank you very much. The blonde rolled his eyes prayerfully before admiring his handiwork. Not too bad if I say so myself. Just don't move around too much or you really will tear some skin. What? Bye. Atsumu stood up and walked out of the storage room, locking it behind him, leaving a rather baffled Hinata who was stuck on the floor, tied up. Hey Atsu, why are you locking the door? Atsumu? The spiker tried moving his wrist around to try to break free, feeling the prank becoming less of a prank by the second, but winced, feeling his skin pinch on the rope. Atsumu, let me out! A string of profanities followed pathetically. Between the strenuous practice and against the rope, he quickly tired himself out and slumped against the floor, hearing his phone clatter to the ground. Hinata gasped and blindly reached for it, with his hands tied behind his back and pressed random buttons, only sufficed when the phone started ringing. Shoyo? Huh? Kenma? Shoot, wrong person. Ouch. Hinata groaned, realizing he was only digging himself into a deeper hole. Kenma, I need you to do me a favor. After my nap? Well, I'm kinda locked in our gym storage room, so I would prefer if it was sooner rather than later. Can you call Tobio for me? Kageyama? Can't you call him yourself? I'm confused why you need my help to call him. About that, Atsumu tied me up, and I can't really see the phone well. I was trying to call him, but ended up calling you. Hinata almost laughed hearing the long string of silence from the other line. Atsumu did what? Details later? Sure. The redhead shuddered when the phone went silent. Hinata only assumed Kenma hung up to call Kageyama. Once again, he was engulfed in silence, forced to sit still and wait until help arrived. The gym was always consistent with blowing cool air, but while moving around and burning up a sweat, Hinata never noticed it, and sometimes even wished the AC worked better. But now that the gym was empty and he was unable to move, he shivered, feeling the chill creep up into his bones. He shuddered in relief, hearing the sound of the gym door open. Tobio? The spiker desperately called out, hoping that it was Kageyama. Even if it wasn't, he hoped that whoever it was would let him out. "Sho, Kemma called me, are you alright? I'm in the storage room, please get me out." Straining himself, he was able to pull himself into a sitting position and almost cried out relief seeing the door bust open, revealing Kageyama, his brow furrowed, seeing the rope around his wrists. "Now what the hell did you get yourself into?" Hinata laughed, realizing he forgot to tell Kemma it was a prank, so the raven more than likely knew that Atsumu was the one who locked him in. "Well, there was no use in trying to go through with the prank any longer. I was trying to prank you." The Setter raised his eyebrow, crossed his arms, not impressed. "Oh yeah? And how did that work out for you?" "Not good." Kageyama chuckled, crouching down to undo the ropes and broke Shoyo free from his restraints. "Did you at least learn your lesson?" "You know I didn't." In a mixture of disbelief and utter defeat, Kageyama rolled his eyes while taking off his jacket and threw it over his lover's shoulders to shield him from the apparent cold. "What am I gonna do with you?" "Put up with me?" The Setter chuckled, seemingly confused how Suga used to put up with their antics, including Nishinoya and Tanaka's. Hell, maybe even the whole team. Suga truly was one of a kind. "Yeah, I will." In the midst of the dark night, there wasn't a soul in sight. Staying late at the schools left much more of a deeper impact than he intended. The extra hours bled into night, leaving the poor teacher exhausted than he thought. Despite there not being a soul in sight, Suga held his back close to his chest, hearing a pair of footsteps behind him, trailing close, practically on his heels. The lights in the alleyway flickered, adding to the eerie setting. Suga gulped, feeling his stomach and his throat. He sucked in a shuddered breath, trying to steady himself and even distract himself from the impending danger. Maybe it was all just in his head, and he was overreacting. Yeah, that was it. Yet he couldn't bring himself to look behind him and see if his gut feeling was true or not. The sounds of footsteps only echoed in his mind. It was reason enough to trust his gut feeling. With trembling hands, the teacher reached inside his bag and grabbed his phone, quickly finding the first contact in his history, dialing a number. "Hi, Sugar, you heading home yet?" His lover's sweet and reassuring tone was almost enough to make him forget of the plaguing fear he felt boiling in his gut, but the stranger's lurking presence kept him in check. He finally gathered the courage to speak up, but only enough for him to hear. He swore up and down he wouldn't know what he would do if the person stalking him hurt. "Daichi." The cop immediately took note of his hushed tone, and his demeanor quickly changed, trying to gain footing of the situation. "Koshi, what's going on?" I think someone is following me." He couldn't hide the crack in his pitiful whisper, and he absolutely hated himself for it. "Where are you right now?" By the convenience store. 2 blocks down." "Can you get to a populated area?" "No." Sugawara tried calming himself by focusing on his boyfriend's firm yet gentle voice and took a deep breath in through his nose and exhaled through his mouth. The teacher braced himself, hearing rustling on the other side of the phone to what he was assuming Daichi walking out of their home and towards him. "Dai, please don't go." "It's alright. I'm still here, Koshi. I'm here." The grip on his phone tightened, hearing the footsteps growing closer. His knuckles turned white from the pressure till he lost circulation in his hands, but couldn't care enough to pay any attention to it. Are you in an alley right now? Yes. Is there any way for you to get out of it? Sugawara looked straight ahead. The narrow alley stretched longer through his own fear. He couldn't make it out quick enough without running, which would ultimately be a stupid decision and make his stalker chase him down. No, He froze. Everything in that moment seemed to freeze in time. He even held his breath. The only reminder that time was still moving was a rat scurrying across the alley and the sound of his pounding pulse against the chest, to the point it ached. It all stopped the moment he felt his stalker press against his flesh and breathe down his neck. Goshi. The teacher screamed, whipping around so fast his phone flew out of his hand and slammed into the wall, shattering the screen and ruining his chances of speaking to Daichi. Fear pumped through his veins, and Suga's eyes widened in horror, seeing the masked man tower over him, doubling in his height and stature. Come on, don't act like that. Sugawara bit his lip to keep his lip from quivering when the man backed him into a wall. He should be running, not cowering. There was no time. He needed to run, to move. Something. Once he made it into the security of Daichi's arms, he'd be safe. He just needed to move. But his body was paralyzed in fear. A pitiful whimper escaped his throat when the man trailed his fingers across his jaw and caressed his cheek. Always so quick to judge. Don't worry, Kashi. I'll make sure we both make it home. What do you say? Wanna come with me? The man cooed, as if it was some sort of sick game. No. Get away from me. Sugawara could see the moment the look in the man's eyes changed. He went from all happy and giddy to pissed in the matter of seconds. Too bad I didn't give you an option. Before he could retort, Sugawara choked on his words, falling to the ground when the man hit him upside the head with an empty beer bottle, making everything grow dangerously dark. His last conscious thought was Daichi, how close he was, yet so very far. Surprise. The series that I put off for 11 months, and the series that I was originally just gonna throw over my shoulder and pretend it didn't exist. Hi, there's a cliffhanger now. So, don't worry, instead of skipping to the third part of the series, I will be making a 2.5 part, and it will strictly just be DaiSuga and resolve whatever the heck I just wrote. So, yeah. You're welcome for the cliffhanger. I don't know why. I love voicing villains. I don't know why, I just feel so in character with them. And I can't explain it. I just can't explain it. I become the embodiment of this villain, and I live for it. I live for it. Anyways, thank you, my deckers, for all of the endless support. And yeah, just thank you. I hope you are able to soak up the benefits of this early access video and all of the others, along with all the other perks. So yeah, I will see you guys later.